Welcome back. We are talking about our part 2 of 2023 predictions and trends. And if you did not watch part 1, go watch that first. All of what I listed in that video is honestly, in my opinion, if small businesses are leveraging those tools this year, and you don't have to be doing all the things I mentioned because there was a lot in that episode, but pick one or two that's going to make most sense for your business. I really feel like brands are going to win when they are leveraging those things. In this part 2, we're going to think a little bit bigger picture. We're going to be a little bit more broad and talk about some other things that we're going to start seeing evolve this year. And so I'm excited to talk about it. But before we dive in, let's hear from our sponsor, me.
Hey, are you a retail store owner who wants to increase your foot traffic, website traffic, sales, profitability, brand awareness? Any of those? If you said yes to any or all, then I would love to see you at my in-person marketing conference called Evolve, happening April 26th and 27th, 2023 at the Gaylord Rockies in Denver, Colorado. Join other retailers like you who really want to grow their business and have a plan for growing so it's more simple to see those results. You'll hear from keynote speakers, amazing breakout speakers, myself and my team. I would love to see you in the room. And just because you're a Crystal Uncorked listener, you can save $400 off of your ticket by using the code UNCORKED at crystalmediaco.com/evolve. That's crystalmediaco.com/evolved using the code UNCORKED, all lowercase. I hope to see you there so we can evolve your marketing, business, and life together. Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked.
Okay, so let's talk about the rest of these trends. Now, I feel like some of these trends are not going to be as applicable to a small business as the ones in part 1, but some of them absolutely are. And I think that it's also good for us as small businesses to know what's going on in the world of marketing and technology so we can stay up to date, right? I think that and know at least what's coming. Maybe you're not going to use some of these things in 2023, but you might next year or 2025 or maybe beyond. So let's talk about them. The first one here, as we continue, we talked about 9 last episode, part 1. Now 10 is ChatGPT is going to be massive this year. And I did an entire episode about ChatGPT. So go watch that if you haven't already, because I dive in and give specific examples of how small businesses can be using it. But I just feel like from an AI perspective, for both copy as well as design, we're going to see a lot more of that in 2023. In fact, there is a site that I used. It was $25 and it created 30 headshots for me. I just had to take a few selfies on my phone, upload it to I would just email them back after I paid the $25. And within one day, they sent me 30 different headshot variations that look very professional. And it was all done through AI. So I have these AI headshots that costed me $25. But here's the deal. Some of them, I have it messed up my teeth. And so there's one big tooth in the center of my mouth. It's really hilarious. Some of them, my eyes look fake, like I'm dead inside. There's no emotion behind it. And some were really great. So, and I'll say some had changed my eye color a little bit. So obviously I'm not going to use those, but I would say I had a solid 3 out of 30 that I would use, and you'll see me using, and I'll call it out when that it is actually AI created. So we're seeing a lot more from an AI design perspective. And then ChatGPT is going to be all about the copy, writing copy for you, giving you ideas, giving you lists, things to assist you in your business, your life. So we're going to see that continue to really explode in 2023. And I think a lot more businesses are just going to be leveraging these technologies to save them time. The next one is increased use of influencer marketing. Influencer marketing will become an increased popular way for some businesses to reach new customers. Now, this is nothing new. We've been seeing influencer marketing, honestly, since almost the beginning of marketing. You would have celebrities who would market brands, and they were basically influencers. The thing is, with social media, we now have the power to become influencers much easier. You have people who are creative and consistent with their content, and they're just cranking out so much content and really building this amazing network of people who love their content and love them. And when they partner with brands, they can help those brands really grow. It doesn't always work. I could do an entire couple hour session about influencer marketing. I don't think it's for everybody. I think sometimes it can be expensive, similar to in the sense of like, you might have a commercial and you're not really seeing that might be great for like a brand perspective, but you don't really see it build your business. And I think with influencers, it's a hit or miss sometimes. Like, you might really partner with the right person and it's driving in a flood of traffic or website traffic or phone calls, or people are purchasing or using your special coupon code that the influencer shared. So you could track the sales back to that person. But sometimes I've heard from businesses who work with influencers and they're like, well, I got some extra followers, but like my engagement hasn't increased. I haven't seen sales. And so there could be frustration, because I think we go into it thinking, oh, this person has 20K, 50K, 100K, a million followers. This is going to be massive for me. And it doesn't always work out that way. Here's the deal. It's all about finding the right influencer, having the right way that you're working with them. It doesn't always have to be just like an offer. Have them actually use your products, or have them actually come into your store and take some great content while they're there. Ideally video, and in their video they could be like how much they love the assortment of products you have and the different collections and how unique some of these things are, and it's their go-to store for XYZ, and the customer service is insane, and you've just got to go if you live in this area, and then use the code or mention this and you'll get a special gift. Make sure that you're just partnering with the right person. They're creating the right content that connects to you, and you have a way to track it. I just think overall, from a marketing perspective, brands are going to continue to leverage influencer marketing, and it's probably going to be the biggest it's ever been this year, using social media, especially short form content like TikTok and Reels. Next up, we have increased use in streaming ads. So TV streaming services like Hulu, and music streaming like Pandora and Spotify. There are local options for this, so it can be great for a local business where you can set the parameters to be within your zip code. That way, only the people that are cruising, listening to Spotify, or they're working out, or they're at home listening to things, you can have your local ad and call out the fact that, like, hey, Fort Collins moms, we've got this awesome event that's coming up. We'd love to see you there. Be really targeted in who that audience is that you're trying to reach. And I would specifically call out the location when you're using these streaming services, so people do know that it's for them, because we think streaming, we think global, we think national. We don't necessarily think this is right in my backyard. Typically, when we are more targeted with our audiences, we are spending less money too. So if you are a local business and you're just focusing on the local audience, I feel like this could be a great way for you to stand out. Things like Hulu, where more people are streaming and less people are watching regular cable, this could really be a great place for you to show up that you haven't before. And that could be a really awesome way to evolve your strategy in 2023. This is a newer channel to target audiences, especially for larger brands that are seeing a decline in effectiveness of Facebook and Instagram ads. In my industry, in internet marketing and social media on a global level, there is a lot of conversation about the effectiveness of people's Facebook and Instagram advertising. And you hear a lot of mixed stories about it still working really well, and some that it's just not, that it's much more expensive and it's harder. For us at Crystal Media, I have an ads agency. We run ads for local retailers, Facebook and Instagram ads. for us, it's still performing incredibly well, which is awesome, right? We're very happy. We're always on top of that because we want to make sure that we're delivering the best service for our retailers. But I think one of the main reasons it's still performing so well is because they are a local business. They're a part of their community, and we are targeting the local audience. So it's a lot less competition than some of these global or national brands that they're dumping, millions of dollars into these ads and just not seeing the return like they used to. Where we are seeing the traffic. We are seeing people join the email list from our ads. We're seeing busier events. We're seeing people click over to their website, like as an e-commerce store that still has a local presence. We can advertise to the local audience. They know the brand, but you can also now shop online. And it's a great way to connect and still keep the ad budget relatively low because you have a smaller audience that you are reaching. But because we're seeing some of the inefficiencies with Facebook and Instagram advertising, especially for the bigger brands, you'll see more of them doing the streaming services as well. And what that might mean is some of the streaming costs might increase as well as the year progresses. Next up, we've got YouTube. In the internet marketing world, a lot of people are talking about YouTube. There's a lot of predictions that a lot more creators will be on YouTube, and it's going to be a really strong platform to drive traffic to your site and to really connect with audiences in an even bigger way. It's already a really strong platform, but there's a lot of talk that it's going to continue to be a strong traffic driver. And we also have, especially the rise of streaming video consumption. So YouTube, you can also buy your plan, you can stream shows there. They also have YouTube Shorts. So I think that we'll see a lot more national brands leveraging YouTube Shorts. If you are a local business or a small business, you can absolutely leverage YouTube Shorts. I think it's going to be best for the brands that are wanting to, if one of your goals is to drive website traffic and you're fine with working with some of the, like if you have an e-commerce store and you have more of a national audience. Otherwise, like if you really are just connecting with the locals, I think putting that content on TikTok is going to be the best place organically, or running Facebook or Instagram advertising. The thing is if you already have the short form video content, then you can publish that to YouTube. You can repurpose it because it's already done. It just means that you are publishing it to another platform. So you got to take an extra 30 seconds to 60 seconds to put it there. Just track and see if you are seeing website traffic from YouTube. What is the engagement? Is it building your brand? Or are you really not seeing much from it and you're just going to really focus your efforts in other platforms? But for me, I'm going to be focusing more on YouTube for sure, because I do have this podcast and this, which is on YouTube, and we reach retailers across the country and even world. So it does make sense for me to leverage YouTube more. Next up, we have LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's going to be a great place if you have a B2B business to business. So you're not trying to reach consumers, you're actually trying to reach the business owner. That we are seeing really great organic reach on LinkedIn, and so that's why it's making this list. For the past couple of years, LinkedIn's been winning the organic traffic and reach award, I feel like, when it comes to social media. And so leveraging this by posting videos, thought leadership articles and ideas, and networking by posting meaningful comments on your perfect customer group, their groups that they're in, their posts that they're publishing, your partners' posts that are being published. If your audience is there and your partners are there, this could be a great place for you to leverage. I did do an interview with Vivica von Rosen on the show. And we talked more about LinkedIn, and she gave some really great tactics and strategies that you can implement right away. So if you are interested in leveraging LinkedIn more, search for Vivica von Rosen on the show, and you should be able to check her out and what she has to say. Next up, we have an emphasis on data privacy. Businesses should be more conscious of data privacy and security, especially as regulations such as GDPR and CCPA continue to evolve. These sites are wanting to protect people's privacy and data, and that's great. That does mean that there's different regulations, there's different things that you can and can't collect and ask for. A very standard practice now that every website should have is that you'll see that bar either up top or it's usually down below, having people approve the fact that there are cookies on these sites to be then cookied and be able to track and follow people around through advertising. So you're just going to want to make sure that you are abiding by some of these terms. A lot of the websites, as you build them, have this already automatically built in. Like there's a prompt for you to add this to your site. But if you don't already have that, that's the first step. I think we're just going to hear a lot more about data privacy in general on all the platforms. You'll be accepting new data and privacy policies on all these platforms, and it's just going to be a continued conversation in this space. Next up is chatbots. Businesses will increasingly use chatbots to interact with customers on social media to automate customer service. And the specific areas I see this happening and growing is in Instagram messages, DMs. Also on Facebook, if your customers are there and you're leveraging Facebook. But this is where customers are going to go message you on Facebook or Instagram. And we have an automated experience to help the customer or the client quickly in case we can't answer right away. And so having that easily to move that person through that experience in that chat is going to be a great experience. With some of these, you can sell products through the bot. Like you can deliver great customer service. It's really neat. ManyChat.com is a tool you can use to set up the automation experience through these platforms. And then Tolstoy, TOLSTOY.com is something I'm using. If you go to crystalmediaco.com/evolve, you'll see a little video of me, and I have several videos that talk about Evolve. And in there, people could go to different buttons like the agenda and speakers, travel information. We have like 8 different things on there. I can't think of them all. But you click on the button and then it goes to the next video. So I can just answer all your questions that you might have about my marketing conference, Evolve, that's happening in April. So check out that I highly recommend this technology. It was so incredibly easy to set up, and you can do stuff for shopping as well. So if you do sell products, it's really cool. But we're going to see a rise of that automation through chatbots in Messenger. Next up, we have more SEO built into social apps like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Especially TikTok, I'm hearing a lot about this, where your captions on these platforms are going to be more helpful to help the content get discovered as people are searching. So SEO is search engine optimization. So as you are posting to these platforms, you want to be thoughtful about the captions you're writing. So there's keywords that identify what the video is about so people can find that content and find you. Also being strategic on the hashtags that you're using, because those are also going to help your content be discovered. So we're hearing more apps putting an emphasis on this and doing a better job with their algorithms from a search perspective. So that's just going to mean that captions are going to be a little bit more meaningful, and we want to optimize them with the right keywords. Next up, we have an increased use of virtual and augmented reality. Most medium to large businesses will explore using virtual and augmented reality to create immersive experiences for their customers. Now, I've been talking about AR and VR for years at Crystal Media, because it's something that, like, I have a VR Oculus set. I have played games in VR, virtual reality. There's just some really cool stuff that you can do. I've talked about like XRP. I think that's the name. There's a real estate company. I don't actually think it's XRP. It's something else though, something like that has an X in it. But it's a very progressive real estate company that has like a whole virtual reality campus built out for their agents, that they can have meetings and do educational events all in VR. It's really amazing. So also Sephora has AR experiences where you can try on different lipstick colors and eyeshadows and blushes and makeup to see if it fits your skin tone and if you're liking that color. If you can't make it into a store to purchase, you could do those things directly through Facebook Messenger. So going back to Messenger, like I was talking about, you could create AR experiences. Nike does this too with trying on their shoes. So those are a couple of the brands that have been leading this effort for several years now. And just as more people use it and as the technology gets better and smarter, we're going to just see more of it. So I don't see small businesses doing much with it today, but I can see them doing stuff with it in the future. And so it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. Next up is increased use of automation. Businesses will continue to use automation tools to streamline their social media marketing efforts. This is different than, so I talked about the chat bots, and in your direct messages or on your website, that is a way to automate the experience within Messenger, but you can also automate the experience through scheduling tools. I know Deliverit is an example of taking one piece of content that can go to multiple websites. Same with the Later, you could schedule there too. You can have feeds that are just automatically repurposing your old content from a blog or older social media posts that are still relevant. I personally don't love automating your social media because I know the stuff that works the best is like in the moment, behind the scenes, humanized content. If you could just document your life every single day and share like what you're working on, what's new, promotions that are coming up, personal stories, like do a blend of everything. And I have training at Crystal Media for you if you need social media training on what you should be posting. In fact, if you go to our site and click on free training, there is the 5-step posting process on how to create your themes and just how to save time posting. So go check that out if you need additional help. I'm more of the fan of doing that kind of posting than automating, but I think what we're just gonna see, especially with the rise of AI, we're gonna see more things being automated where you could use ChatGPT to write your social media posts. You go in and edit a little bit so it sounds like you, boom, you partner it with a picture, and then you're scheduling those to go to all sorts of platforms, or you're just having it pull your blog and automate. Like, we'll see more of that, but I think small businesses should just stick to creating their own authentic content. Next up, we have an emphasis in user-generated content. Businesses will encourage customers to share user-generated content, which is also known as UGC, such as reviews and product photos to build social proof. So instead of working with an influencer who you're paying typically and they're promoting your product or your service, we are asking our already established customers to create content for us and tag us and use our hashtag, and we can then use their content on our social media either by sharing it, or you can also ask them if you could save it and create like original content out of their content. User-generated content tends to be much more effective because you're having somebody take pictures using your content. It's from their perspective, so it tends to be more connected to your perfect customers. They see themselves in that UCG and it performs better. It's more relatable versus the brand creating the content. You're seeing it from a different perspective. It's not like as relatable because you're not necessarily the customer. We're going to see a continued effort of people trying to get UCG. There are things you could do if you have shipments that you're sending out. You could have a postcard and ask people to post their content and tag you, and you do winners. And by doing that, you have the ability to share the content and use their content. And if people love your brand and love your business, like they are going to want to be featured. They're going to want to see themselves on your social media. So I think this is a really great way to connect, get good content, save you time on content. We're going to see more of it this year. Then use of social listening, use social listening tools to monitor and respond to customer feedback in social media. We've been doing this for many years. This is more of a big box thing to do. I feel like a bigger brand where they might have somebody who's dedicated to monitoring specific accounts and specific keywords and specific hashtags that relate to their industry and the things that they sell and their customers, so they could stay on top of what's being said and then respond to it, retweet it, share it, comment, create a post out of what's being said. And so using things like Hootsuite can be a good way to listen and set up some of those ways to monitor those conversations. In my opinion, small businesses have a lot on their plate, and you don't have this team of people that could be like, or even just one dedicated person who's doing the listening. So instead, you might just be very aware of the comments that people are posting. Send surveys, like ask questions and learn what they need help with. What are they buying? Like what keeps them up at night? Like those kinds of things, to stand shoulder to shoulder to them as a listening tool. So you're doing it a little bit more actively, like proactively, where you're putting out the survey, you're really listening to those comments, and pay attention to the content that they're engaging with, because that's going to give you some information about what they want to keep seeing and what they need and how you can support them without monitoring all sorts of conversations that's happening on social media. And then the final one, my favorite one, I think maybe on this list, is podcasts will continue to grow. The podcast industry is exploding as consumers like the easiness of listening to shows and the convenience of their day-to-day. It's also a unique channel if the brand is looking for something different and wants to build their own audience. Otherwise, being a guest on already established podcasts is a great way to increase your reach and exposure in 2023. You don't necessarily need to go and launch your own podcast. You can totally be on somebody else's show. Just find shows that the listeners are your customers too. I think we're going to see more small businesses launch podcasts, local-based, like niche-based and local-based podcasts we're going to see. And just for me, like, the thing is, because I do have a show, so I've experienced this, you've got to create consistent content, and you've got to stick with it. I'm 2 years in, but I did take a few breaks, so I wasn't as consistent. I'm almost 2 years in, and I'm finally getting the momentum of having a good amount of listeners every single week. I'm seeing the downloads increase. I'm seeing more people comment. I'm seeing more people, I'm hearing more people who are listening and how it's impacting their business. And I'm starting to see that momentum. So if you decide that creating a podcast is a right platform for you and a right channel for you in 2023, one of my biggest pieces of advice is you have to be willing to commit. Don't give up. There's this thing called pod fade, where after 7 podcasts, that's typically where people fall off, is after recording 7. I think I'm on 72. You've got to just keep going. And obviously, if it's like you do it and you don't love it and you're going to switch to doing something else, that's fine. But just to get a decent result from doing a podcast, to really get a good measurement if it's going to work for your business or not, do it at least for a year and publish every single week, and make sure you're marketing those episodes. But I just think we're going to see a rise in podcasts and in listeners. And I hope so, especially since I have a show. And so if you know of anybody that would enjoy this type of content and would connect to me and has a small business, then please send them my podcast. Sharing the show is one of the best things you can do, and reviewing the show is huge for us podcast people. That's how we get discovered, and that's how more people are going to find us and listen to us. So if you haven't reviewed yet and you're enjoying the show, I would love for you to do a review. And then coming soon will be some of these in-person Vegas episodes. I think we're going to see how it all looks and sounds. But as you know, I'm just working on providing good content for you on the show. If there's anything that you specifically want answered or would like to learn, please email me at cheers@crystaluncorked.com. Until then, I'll see you on the next See You. Bye-bye.
Hey, real quick, if you are a retail store owner, I would love to see you at Evolve. This is my in-person marketing conference happening April 26th and 27th, 2023 in Denver, Colorado at the Gaylord Rockies, which is a stunning venue. You get to spend 2 days with me and my team and keynote speakers, as well as other retailers looking to evolve their marketing, business, and lives. It's an intimate event. We only have 200 tickets available, and we've already sold a lot of those seats already. So this event will sell out. Do not delay, because we have special pricing depending on when you hear this and when you sign up. And I would love to see you in that room. So go to crystalmediaco.com/evolve. That's crystalmediaco.com/evolve to get your ticket. And I would love to see you there. And thank you for listening to this episode. Bye.